Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Gauranitai, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembly devotees. So, we wanted to have a look at how to focus on the Yuga Dharma. So, we know Bhakti Yoga is the highest platform in order to become self-realized or God-realized. And the central plank of Bhakti Yoga is the chanting of the holy names. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us in his appearance day. It was only yesterday or the day before. And he came in order to give us the holy names and to show us how we can chant and how we can achieve God realization simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So what is the holy name? It's non-different from Krishna. We were just singing the bhajan which describes the Srimad Bhagavatam also as non-different from the Lord. Similarly, the holy name is non-different from the Lord. What does that mean? It means that the Lord has a form, a spiritual form, which is completely spiritual, unlike our body, which is material. But we have a spirit, soul. We are the spirit soul, in fact, which drives the body. The Lord is not, his body is not different from his spirit. Ours is. And that's why we're in the material world and he's in the spiritual world. So his name is also non-different from his spiritual form. So when we chant the name, we are actually associating with the Supreme Lord as we would be associating with him if we were in the presence of his spiritual form. So this is what that means. And that's very powerful because simply by taking the name of the Lord, we're actually with him. And that's very important to understand. So where's that come from? It's from Padma Puran. There's a verse, Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnashudo Nitya Mukto Apinatvam Namo Namino. The holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions, for it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete, and it is the form of all transcendental mellows. It is not a material name under any condition, and it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. In fact, it is often cited that the holy name of Krishna or the holy name of Ram is more powerful than the Lord himself. And maybe if we get a chance, we'll go into that. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by the material qualities, there is no question of its being involved with Maya. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. This is a fantastic explanation of the holy name from the Padma Puran. So another thing about the holy name is that the Lord has invested all his energies into the holy name. So there's a verse, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sharva Saktis. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke about the holy names, that Nam Namakari Bahuda, with so many qualities the holy name has, and the Lord has. Bahuda Sharva Shaktis. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nicha Sharva Shaktis. He's invested all of those energies, all of those potencies into the holy name. So the holy name is very, very powerful. As powerful as the Lord himself. His most valued possession. This is the Lord's most valued possession. It's gifted to us via the spiritual master. So the spiritual master is very, very important. And that's why he's so dear to Krishna, because the spiritual master gives the holy name to the disciple. It's a gift from the spiritual master. And that's a very important gift, because it's the most valuable possession that the Lord has and is given to us. Why? Why is this the case? Why is this a gift to us? Because he values us. When you love somebody, there's no expenditure that you can spare to make them happy. So similarly, the Lord loves us. He values us. And he's willing to give us his most valued possession. So this is very important to understand. And this point about the holy name being more powerful than the Lord. So there was a couple of examples in Ramayana when Lord Ramachandra and the Vanara army were constructing the bridge to cross the ocean from South Bharat to Lanka. Hanuman was writing the name of Ram on the stones and the rocks. And they would float. Because of the name of Ram, they floated on the ocean water. Lord Ramachandra put rocks or stones on the ocean as well, but they sunk, which is a little surprising. He was surprised himself. Of course, nothing surprises the Lord, but this is part of the Leela. Hanuman saw that, and he said to the Lord, "Your name is more powerful than you are. That's why, by the potency of your holy name, we are able to make these stones float and therefore make the bridge." There's another instance when Hanuman, after I think Sita was rescued, came back to Ayodhya. There was an incident when Hanuman was asked by a certain person to protect him. And Hanuman said, "Yes, I will protect you." He didn't realize he was protecting him from the Lord. So there was an encounter between the Lord and this person. And because Hanuman had promised to protect the person, he kept chanting the name of Ram in front of that person, while the Lord was in confrontation with him. And the Lord's arrows could not penetrate that person because the holy name was protecting him. So this is showing the potency of the holy name. What is the Maha Mantra? The best mantra, the greatest mantra. It's the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. What is the meaning of the holy name? What is the meaning of the mantra? Essentially, the meaning of the mantra is, my dear Lord, you do so much for me. You look after me in so many ways, in every way. Let me do something for you. Let me engage in your seva. Let me have the honor of serving you, which is not an easy task, which is not an easy position to get into. Only by the blessings of the Guru and Govinda can we serve the Lord. That's the essential meaning of the Maha Mantra. Each name, there's 3 names in it, Krishna, Rama, and Hare. Each one has specific meanings. Krishna means all attractive. Everybody's attracted to Krishna. Ram means a reservoir of all pleasure, so he's always content and happy. And he wants us to be happy. And Hare refers to the internal energy of the Lord. Ladini Shakti or Shrimati Radharani. Very powerful potency of the Lord. Other mantras, so many other mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namah Namaha. So many mantras. And they have their potency. Gayatri mantra, they all have their potency. But the one that is recommended in this age of Kali Yuga is this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's the best of all. Om also refers to the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Om is described in Srimad Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. I am the syllable Om. Was it I am the syllable Om or something like that? I am the chant Om or something. So Om is very important. But in Kali Yuga, it is described that this Mahamantra is more potent. So sometimes Om people mistaken to represent the impersonal aspect of the Lord, but actually it's not. I understand that AUM, A stands for Krishna, M stands for Radha, and U is us. So it's a basically Radha and Krishna want to engulf us with this Om. But in Kali Yuga, Mahamantra is described to be the best of all mantras. What's the purpose of chanting? What's the purpose of japa? Why do we chant for 2 hours a day? To please Krishna. Why? Why does it please Krishna? Because we are trying to connect with Krishna. He's already connected to us, but we've disconnected ourselves from him. Purpose of chanting is to, again, connect us with the Lord. So that's why it pleases Krishna. It's a form of worship of Radha and Krishna. When you're chanting, we are actually engaging in the worship of the Supreme Lord because we're chanting his names exclusively, nothing else in our head at that time. And we're mending a broken relationship. We've broken that relationship and the onus is on us to mend it. But the Lord is very kind because he's provided the means by which we can mend that relationship. So it's so important to do good chanting, good japa. Otherwise, it's very hard to mend that relationship. It's very hard to please Krishna. It's, worshipping him if we know our attention is not on the mantra. And Lord Chaitanya has described the benefits of chanting the holy names in the first verse that he wrote down of the Shikshakstakam. Cleanses the heart, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, extinguishes repeated birth and death. It's the prime benediction for humanity. This is really, really powerful effects. It spreads the rays of the benediction moon. The moon is very cooling, especially when there's a lot of heat in the weather. The moon gives us cool. There's a lot of heat in this material world, so the holy name is like the moon which cools down the heat of the material world. It's the life of all transcendental knowledge. So good chanting automatically will give us knowledge of the absolute, because the Lord from within will enlighten us, even if we may not be able to read or absorb so much, but the chanting itself will give us all the knowledge that we need to advance in our spiritual life. It increases the bliss of the ocean of transcendental bliss, enables us to fully taste the nectar of the holy name. So these are really powerful statements. What are other benefits? It awakens our love for God. It's the foundational basis of Bhakti Yoga. This is really the absolute crux in the age of Kali Yuga. If we get this right, then we're in a good place to perform Bhakti Yoga. It equips us to deal with life's challenges. This is the holy name. This is the power of the holy name, that we won't get fazed by any situation in this material world, because we know this material world is topsy-turvy. Anything can go wrong at any moment. No guarantee of anything. The chanting gives us that safety, that hope against hope, really. Hope against hope. Brings peace with oneself and the world. Can deal with anything. Where are we with our chanting now? If we continue chanting as we are now, will we progress? Will we remain in the same place? Or are we going backwards? So, very important to assess ourselves. Only we can assess our chanting. Where is our head when we're chanting? Where is our mind when we're chanting? Where is our heart when we're chanting? So there's three types of chanting. There's nam, apara, offensive chanting, which is really not going to help us with our bhakti yoga. And it may even hinder us if we're not careful. Then there's namabhas, where it's in the clearing stage. We're not offending. At the same time, it's not perhaps pure chanting. And Shuddhanam, pure chanting. So pure chanting is where there's no distraction. The focus is completely on the Supreme Lord. And it is chanting done with the heart. So there's a few things required for that. And of course, Prabhupada was the emblem of this Shuddhanam chanting. So what are the offenses to avoid? This is very important. This 10 or 11 offenses, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated life for propagating the holy names of the Lord. Very important not to offend the devotees, especially those who have dedicated lives. Don't offend anybody. Don't offend devotees, and especially those who have dedicated lives for preaching the holy names, because they're giving the holy names to others. And if we're having a go at them for no reason, or even if there is a reason, then we're in danger of committing the very first offense. Krishna takes it seriously because he is a servant of the Lord giving the name to others. And if we chanting the holy names and offending the person who's giving the holy names to others, the Lord he becomes upset. That won't please the Lord. Second offense, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the holy name of Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiva is, you could say, is same as Lord Vishnu, but when Lord Vishnu wants to touch this world, he becomes Shiva. So there's a difference as well. And he's known as Mahadev, head of the demigods, best of the demigods, top of the demigods. So if one is thinking that Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they're equal to Vishnu, that's an offense to the Supreme Lord. Brahma is the same as a living entity, but he's perfected himself in all the 50 different qualities. But anybody can become Lord Brahma if one is so inclined. It takes a lot, of course. You have to be a brahmachari for 100 lifetimes, practicing properly, if you want anywhere near to become Brahma. But why would you want to bother? What a headache. He's got 4 heads, 4 times the headache. At least our Brahma. But the point is that he's Lord Vishnu is, you cannot equate Vishnu to these personalities. Vishnu is beyond, way beyond. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master gives the holy name, and to do something against him will offend the holy name, will offend the Lord. To blaspheme the Vedic literatures or literatures in pursuance of the Vedic version. The literatures, the Srimad Bhagavatam, it propagates bhakti yoga, big time. And if we blaspheme those literatures, then again, we're going to offend the holy names, offend the Lord. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. So if we're thinking, yeah, this is just a whole lot of, if somebody just made it up, the glories of the holy name. How can the holy name be the same as Krishna? It is. And it's stated in the scriptures. And if we consider the glories of the holy name to be imagination, that's offensive to the holy name. To give some interpretation on the holy name is Krishna. Simple as that. What else you want to add to that? Give some interpretation. Holy name means you can get a job, or you can get a wife, or holy name means something means that you can define your next life. No, holy name is the holy name. It's not different from Krishna. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, that's really not good. There's some of these offenses can be negated quite easily, but this one is a tough one to get over, because if you're committing sins and thinking, okay, I'll do this nonsense, but then I'll chant and everything will be forgiven. That's not going to work. To consider chanting of Hare Krishna, one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karmakanda. So these karmakanda activities are like a business transaction. I'll do something for you, dear devatas, or dear the Supreme Lord, and you give me this. That's not what chanting is all about. Chanting is where we are trying to simply please the Supreme Lord without wanting anything back in return. And it's not one of the ritualistic activities described in the Vedas. To instruct a faithless person about the holy name, somebody you tell about Krishna and they become agitated and they become aggressive, anti-God as a result. They're already away from God. We're pushing them even further away from God. So that is not a good thing to do. If somebody's got no faith about the holy name, leave it alone. Doesn't matter. If you're trying to push the philosophy down their throat and they become really anti, that's not good. Instead, just have some compassion. Just show some love, give some prasad, and in due course of time, their hearts will change. Maybe not in this life, maybe in another life. That's between them and the Lord. All you can do is facilitate. When there's somebody innocent, we can share the holy names. When there's somebody envious, then we avoid. We approach them in a different way. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain mature attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. So we've been chanting for years and years and years, and still haven't given up any attachments to the material world. What normally happens is the Lord will automatically destroy material attachments. But sometimes one still hankers for those material attachments and they come back. So that's not a good position to be in, especially if we've understood a lot about the holy names. And faith, we have to have some faith in the beginning to start chanting. And that faith will grow as we see how the Lord's protection how the Lord gives us so much protection. And that faith just keeps increasing and increasing day by day by day. But if we don't keep that faith, because the Lord will supply, you invest one grain of faith and he will provide further faith. Wow, is that the time? Okay. It's also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. And this is the point which Sunil asked about. How do we not become inattentive? So, very good point, because it's an offense to be inattentive while chanting. So, what we've described about the holy names, how is Krishna himself, how we associating with the Supreme Lord when we're chanting, all the different benefits of chanting of the holy names, that should give us enough impetus on its own to become attentive while chanting. But tomorrow we'll cover the rest, how we can try to improve our external conditions so that we can have a very good chance of being attentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, which is prema bhakti, love of Godhead. Any questions, any comments? We'll stop there. Sunil, are you there?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. It's very nice class. I think I have to listen it for a couple of times. The recording,
Sure.
but good points.
Okay, and we'll continue tomorrow, and we'll make it on a more practical level as well. What we can actually do to try to fix our mind, because that's the challenge, fixing the mind.
Yeah. What I meant while the beginning stage of chanting, your mind is. The mind goes here and there. Sometimes, let's say you have a fight. Fight between brackets uh, with your brother or many years ago, and then while chanting, uh, automatically mind goes, "Hey, this happened in the past." So I was
Yes,
thinking how to fix your mind
that's
on
it.
the japa, but
That's it.
I have understood that it's a natural thing that the mind will go here and there in the beginning. It requires a lot of practice. You
Yes.
mentioned as Nam Abhas and all the stages, 3 stages
Mm.
to become on the other stage uh, a bit. We need some time and some more confidence and some more, yeah, to be fixed in Krishna consciousness, to be
Agreed.
determined. Uh, yeah, we have to give our life to Sri Krishna and Radha, as you mentioned from the beginning of the slides. So I think that's the time factor, probably. I'm not sure.
It is time, but also it is we can also help ourselves somewhat by making some arrangements. You go to work, you make sure you get up, you sleep early, you get up early, you prepare for it. So in the same way, when we're chanting, we need to prepare for that chanting. We help ourselves. If we're just thinking, oh, I just get the chanting in sometime during the day, we're not showing that commitment to God that, I really consider this a very important activity and I'm going to give it, I'm going to plan every day. Like I plan my daily activities when I go to work or cook or whatever it is. So we can help ourselves by arranging the external factors so that the mind gets the message that this is not a joke. This is not a flippant activity. This is actually a very serious activity that we're doing now. Just like going to work, the mind might say, oh, forget it. Let's just go watch the television or, play some sports. But the mind knows, hey, no, I got to go to work because I got to earn money and I've got some duties to perform. So in the same way, the mind can be trained to approach the chanting in a serious way. So, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Is that okay, Sunil?
Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you asking because it's so important. We haven't done this for a long time, so it's very important to revise this again and again. Thank you. So Sanatan Dharma ki jai, Mahamantra ki jai. Hare Krishna. So let's pray to Lord